What's up, y'all? Thank you for viewing the In Between series, the show where young folk honor the space between their dreams and their reality. We're so excited for today's episode. Here with me, I have Lo, Quay, CJ, Ebony Love, and to my right, I have Sharon, Brenton, and Jess. So today's going to be a pretty good episode. I'm excited to discuss what we have going on. So we're talking about manifestation and how do we get to the point where we begin actually putting things out there. Where do you start and when do you know that it's time to actually do that?
Well, I believe that you just need to get out and start. I'm sorry to say what I believe, or at least the way that I kind of started the venture that I'm working on is I just got out there and I started. Because if you don't start, if you put it off and say, okay, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, then it'll never happen. So I suggest just getting out there and getting started.
Okay. Can someone tell me, like, what were their first steps that, like, actually began their journey?
For mine, I just started out researching. I knew what I wanted to do, but
Research.
So I started out researching, made a plan, and just put it into action. And then from there, you have to be consistent. Like, you can't just expect something to come out of nowhere, but like, you really have to be consistent with what you're trying to do. So,
and I would piggyback on researching and also say writing it down because it's so important to have all of your ideas in one place. So I have a book that I write all my ideas and my mission, my vision. Different things that come to me throughout the day, and then I started researching, and then also trying to figure out what is my brand, what do I want the world to know me for.
Okay, and also who you're targeting as well, your audience, so you don't just be throwing stuff out there.
I think for me, my process was just going through life, like figuring out what I liked, what I was good at, what I was bad at, you know what I mean, and then just allowing maturity to come. So that way I can say, oh, okay, like I can handle this. Because what I have now, my platform that I have now, I wouldn't have been able to handle it maybe like 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And so it came right at the time when you're ready to birth that baby, just like a mom. She got 9 months of it. You know, for us, it's a lot longer birthing our business babies, you know? So just giving yourself time to evolve and grow is the only step, really. And when you know, you know.
So like what kind of resources did you acquire? Like what are things that maybe you got on your own, but things that like somehow like gravitated towards you and you knew that it was for you and you knew that you can utilize it for like what you were pursuing? Did that ever happen to you?
Well,
Happens every day.
Every day? Like
It happens more than you think. The
Yes.
universe works in crazy ways. Like, definitely. Just like y'all were talking about writing down. Like she said, start now, which is absolutely correct. But you can also plan. So you can plan for where you're trying to go, and break it down into increments. Set goals for yourself so you can hold yourself accountable for where you're going. But also break it down to the point to how can I start like right now.
And I agree with him on the universe because I believe that speaking things into existence is real. And also God places people in your life at the right times. I remember saying, hey, I would like to have a person that does this. And then all of a sudden the person that does that walks through the door. So just being confident in your vision. And sometimes it takes a little while to figure out what your vision is, but once you got it, you got it.
Yeah, agreed. And I also think that a lot of it is being open to letting people be there for you. Like I have some of the best mentors in the whole wide world. Shout out to Eric Olofsson and Arun Chaudhary. I took up this really amazing internship at a firm called Revolution Messaging where I picked up my model for my business. I got to work on the Bernie Sanders presidential campaign, and through that I figured out how to do digital content in a more competitive way. I didn't realize that you could make a living doing what you wanted to do until I got around those guys. So I appreciate you guys.
And something else that I'm thinking is like sometimes where you are, you learn things, and you would have never been able to learn it until you got to that point where someone or something could teach you. Because
Always a
experience,
student.
yes, be a student, be a lifelong learner.
Always
Yeah.
learning, always growing.
I think with that, sorry. Like,
No, go ahead, CJ.
You have to be like, you can't be afraid to fail either. Like,
Yes.
I know for me, like doing music, like it kind of started off just freestyling. I was just saying anything, but from there you kind of learn what you need to work on. You got to keep your results in a contained space, and then just look to see what else is going on and see the blueprint that everyone else is doing. And people, the right people will see that you're trying,
Yeah.
and they'll say, okay, you're doing this, you're trying to do that, and you have heart. And if you have the heart for it, somebody will definitely help you
See
out.
it.
Yes.
And it's funny that you say that too, because for a long time I was so afraid to fail, but in the same token, it was like I was so afraid to succeed, so it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that helped me in my process is reaching across, right? So like as business owners and people who have our own brands and stuff, we immediately want to reach for the stars, right? But there's you right next to me and you right next to me. How can we come together as a collective to get to where we're going?
Yeah.
Because if you make it and we have a genuine relationship, then I make it and vice
you
versa.
are.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so like I'm gonna reach out to you and be like, hey bro, like what's good? Like,
We already
you
locked
know?
in. We already locked in.
Doesn't Issa Rae say something
Yeah,
about that? I'm clogged up, I'm
network
sorry.
across.
But Issa Rae, exactly.
Yeah.
Issa Rae says you don't want to reach up to celebrities or people that are totally out of your stratosphere.
Exactly.
Your friend's doing some dope shit.
Gotta work with
Your
what you
other
got.
friend makes dope t-shirts.
Yeah.
Put each other on.
Exactly.
Rock them shirts.
Right.
And I do think sometimes this is all easier said than done. Like I do agree and appreciate what y'all said, but what about those times where you see that you end up in these spaces where you are asked to be something that you want to be, but deep down you're like, am I really ready? Is this really me? And am I being something that I'm not? And it's like an imposter syndrome, and sometimes it's really hard to get over that. So how do y'all? Because at this point in y'all's process, are people recognizing you as an artist or recognizing you as that? And is that term like difficult to like believe? Like, but dang, I do be painting, but am I an artist? Dang, I didn't release that track, but am I a musician? Like, sometimes.
Yeah, that's
I think so.
real.
I think Oprah said it, like, you have to live your truth. Like, if it's not you, like, then why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Like, I really think you have to live your truth. Like,
But how do you understand what it is you? Like, how do you allow yourself to believe in yourself?
Sorry.
No, you good.
Go ahead,
I'm
bro.
gonna.
I feel like with imposter syndrome, especially, like, I know there are times where I've gone on stage and people say, "Oh man, you did really good," and I know that maybe I hit a J 30 minutes prior. And like, I know my voice is not on 100%, but maybe to other people I did good, but I know it was a B+ in my book. So imposter syndrome kind of lets me say, okay, what should I not have done? How could I improve that? But you have to just do it. You just have to do it and mess up. And
And just believe in yourself.
You can take inventory of everything and say, okay, I know that my throat wasn't where it should have been. I could have hit that note way better
Yeah.
if I didn't do this one
Yeah.
bad mistake.
Yes.
An hour.
So I mean, it takes planning, yes, and it takes believing in yourself. So like, what else? What are other things that, like, is a strategy? Like, what helps you manifest?
I guess to just add on to the last point, one of my favorite people in the world told me you have to have the confidence of a mediocre white man.
Yes.
Okay, and there are
You
going to
can
be
get anywhere in life.
moments that come to you and you're going to feel like, oh, am I going to get into this space and be somebody I'm not? Clearly you are if you can.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's
That's
like
real.
something I've been working on is a little bit of healthy arrogance. And when I say that, I don't mean be an asshole to your peers. In fact, I always say to Brenton, I need a sprinkle of Brenton. Because it's just like his confidence. He's like, you know what, we here and we about to do this. And that's something that I work on all the time. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect at it. But you know what, when things come to you, you have to be willing and prepared to trust God and trust your vision and just execute to the best of your ability. There will be times when you fail. There will be times when the opportunity comes and you fall flat on your face, right? But what matters is you coming to that opportunity, seizing it to the best of your ability at that moment, and then over-delivering like Bruce says. Even if over-delivering isn't enough at the moment, it's about coming out there and doing what you can.
And I think another big point is building your support system. So a lot of times we look to our family, we look to our friends, and sometimes they don't see our vision, so they may not support it, and they may not think that we are who we think we are, but it starts from within. And then once you know who you are within and you start to build that confidence, you attract people that are bomb just like you.
Yes.
People that have the same
Yes.
mindset, like all of y'all right here with me. But seriously, you have to learn where your support comes from. But it starts from within. It really does.
And for a long time, I would say like, "Hey, I'm a motivational speaker," and I would actually be speaking it, and the people around me would, edge me on and like hype me up. But deep down, I kind of didn't believe that. I'm like, "Oh, I'm speaking and I'm really helping people," but I didn't believe that I was a motivational speaker up until like I'll say this year when I was really going, and I had to look deep down inside and say, "Hey, this is your calling. Like this is what you do. You are literally helping people. So embrace it. Just embrace who you're calling to be. Who you're being called to be." So,
Have you ever been discouraged on your journey because something didn't come out as you planned, and then you thought, "Well, dang, maybe I'm not who I thought." Like, has it ever been a specific time where you're just like, "Dang, I didn't execute, so this must not be for me"? Because that happens, and sometimes it makes us lose faith. Yeah, go ahead.
When I first started my painting set company, I didn't realize basically something happened with the trademark. So I just like 2 months within me starting it. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like I planned this out for a year, and 2 months in, it's like I'm a failure. But it's like something was just like leverage it. So I figured out how to leverage it, and then now it's to the point where it's 10 times better than it was when I initially started it. So I feel like certain things work play out for a reason. Like even if you think it's failure, it's not necessarily that.
And the same with me. For a long time, I would say, "Hey, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book." But when I started writing my book, I was like, "It's not for me." I got discouraged, And up until recently, I went back and I did it. So I guess it's just timing. Timing is everything.
Well, since this is a real ass show, and we come here to be honest for the people, I need y'all to talk about the times where you learned, like, okay, that's not for me. I may be inspired by it, and I may love when other people do it, but this is not my purpose, so I'm gonna let them have it. Like, has that ever dawned on you? Because I know I want to sing like Beyonce, and I know I do in the shower. Like, but I'm not her, and I'm not going to be out here pursuing this career. And like, I've come to those terms that certain things are just not me, and you have to really know people around you, their strength. Like, maybe I'm good at speaking, but I can't produce. So who I have with me? In a vision company. So you have to just know what you're good at, right? And you have to know what you can't do. Do you think so?
And I think that we all come to that crossroads in different ways. I think that some people it's more traumatic than others. I think for myself, it was more about me being very observant while I was in school. I'm a social worker, and so we had plenty of experience, plenty of internships that went wrong, and I was able to be like, you know what, that's not for me, but I can still be a social worker and just do it differently. So I think that sometimes it's really just having that experience and pushing yourself to do something different, whether you're going somewhere and speaking because you're a motivational speaker and then falling flat on your face and understanding that maybe it is for me, but I just need to invest in it more, or kind of shift it in a different way.
Okay, I can't identify with that though, because I can't, only because I have a mentality of like, I can do it all. Like, I'm going to do it all. Granted, it does hurt me in a lot of ways because I don't take the time to cultivate what's in front of me the way that it should be, right? But at the same time, a lot of the opportunity that I get is because I'm taking it and I'm hungry for it. And so I feel like in a way it's not a bad thing to feel like it's all me. Like, you can feel like you Beyonce, like, and you better than Beyonce, like,
But then too, it's like, be realistic, be real with yourself and finding out, okay, this really isn't for me. You get what I'm saying? Although you are very creative, we have a lot of different things that we can do, there are still some things that we cannot. Social work.
So I'm gonna bring it into, we have a submission, someone wanting our advice. So there is no subject this time, which is cool, but they said, "Hey panelists, my significant other and I have been dating for 2 years. The catch is we're both young, black degreed adults who are chasing professional goals in different states." That's a catch. Neither of us are genuinely want to move to the other person's state and due to applying to master's programs in our respective states and have a bountiful connections and resources in those locations. And since we are nowhere near being married or live together, that makes this process even harder. I wanted to know your opinion you would give to a couple that is dealing with long distance issues while chasing dreams, but also shares faith and doesn't want to come together into one living space before marriage. We discuss our future all the time, but we are not actually planning a future together. So what are we talking about here? At least not in the same state. I am hoping that when things are right on time, that everything will fall into place and work itself out. But is that possible? It's a no for me, dog. it's a no for me.
I think it's possible. I think, anything is possible, but you have to be willing to work towards that. If this is a common goal that you guys have, it may take time, but again, like I said, timing is everything. And in all things, I think that you should pray about it. You should, be led by God, be led by the Holy Spirit or whatever leads you, and then be obedient to that. And sometimes it may mean that you guys have to split, but at the end of the day, it may also mean you'll come together, but when the timing is right, you'll come together. You can't force it. As simple as that.
So I have two things. So I was just listening to the words that were provided. So long distance issues, number one, and number two, we're not planning. Number two, we're not planning a future together. So
it's no
number,
future. Not
planning,
no
so
future.
no future. So number one, you're already viewing long distance as an issue. If you view something as an issue, then it will be an issue.
Yeah.
If you and your partner reframe it as just a circumstance, then you guys can work forward with it. Number two, you're not even planning a future together. So how can you plan a future together how can you envision a future together if you don't have a plan? You have to have a plan from jump. Yeah. If you guys are separate, you never know what's going to happen, whether you're going to have a job overseas or, if it doesn't work and that person wants to move in with you. You guys have to have at least a structure, a foundation to work forward from.
Absolutely.
And I think our generation, so here's the issue with us. When we take the innocence out of dating and we automatically jump to this is my life partner. Granted, that's the goal. That should always be the goal. However, in order to make a great collective, you have to make a great individual. And so, in order for me to make my unit better, I know that as a man, I have to be holistically well-rounded and ready for that. And until I'm that, the unit is going to be a little bit off. You know what I mean? And so if she feels as though, they genuinely don't want to do that, if you feel like you pursuing that different route to make things better at the end is better, then do it.
Yeah.
I think there is an option that wasn't put here that is totally realistic, and I guess I'm going to sound like I'm hating.
Say it.
But there is an option to be single.
Right.
Absolutely.
Why don't we ever consider that as a whole, in a holistic sense?
Single and be friends. You can still be friends and you can still grow with this person.
Yeah.
You can still date this person, but don't put so much expectations on.
Yeah. It's
both
like
of you.
When you're weighing it, you're asking for advice between. Basically, I'm seeing is your future being and pursuing what you want to be, and someone who you want to be a part of that. But I'm always going to say choose you.
Yeah.
And if I want you to work and try to make that work, but I also want you to know that you being whatever degree professional person that you want to be is already enough. Just consider that.
Yeah. I agree. Don't lose yourself trying to chase after the person who's not there.
Yeah.
Exactly. You guys have to be on the same playing field. He has to want to do it just as much as you want to do it.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing
Don't put
worse.
this on him. Do not put this
I
on
mean,
No. If you are in a relationship, both of you have to want to work.
mutual agreement.
A mutual agreement.
Yeah.
All
But
I
this
was gonna say is there's nothing worse than having that cloud of resentment and bitterness over a relationship, especially when you feel like you have to be married. Because I think that's a good point that you made. And in our generation, they really try to play us, but we be for that commitment shit. We really do.
I mean, people
But
before
it's
us
just
was
a little bit
too,
more. Well,
It's not just specifically our generation. Just want to add that.
fair.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to make is, again, when you have that cloud of resentment because people didn't, go after their dreams, they didn't accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, then y'all just gonna break up, get a divorce anyway. So save some money,
Yeah.
break up now, and see what happens later.
Or have a plan to make it work.
Have a plan to make it
that too.
work.
I'm Kid Fury out here. Break up.
But do you think even with a plan, if you're still planning two individual separate
Right.
states for the rest of your life,
Yeah, no, I would
it's enough for me, dog. It's
I
enough.
would agree with that.
Cut
That's
it.
too much.
Cut
That's
it.
too much.
At some point, it has to be a joint. Like that's not a joint. Y'all
No
need to be in
way.
the same
I'm living in
order.
California and you living in North Carolina for the rest of our lives, and we're gonna try to make it work. No.
Unless you got plane ticket money.
Oh yeah, you got
but we
freaking
can
flyer
have
miles, and you work for Delta. I don't know.
Exactly.
It's
Come together as one. You
I
can't.
gotta connect. at some
Oh, we
point.
just ruined the relationship. It's over.
It's not over.
It's
But,
over.
you know, the reality is relationships, we all gonna have a different perspective, but do what
Yeah,
you feel
yeah.
is right.
Right.
And also talk with your partner about it.
Keep Christ in the middle.
Y'all
Like,
make the same. Y'all
Keep
make,
God
y'all
in the
gotta make
middle.
this
You
decision
know
And
that.
keep that communication steady. Like
feel
you
me?
can talk
Like-
to anybody in the surrounding areas. You can talk to your friends. You can talk to your parents. But at the end of the day, you talk to your partner. You talk to the person that you're gonna do life with, or that
Yes.
you're gonna do this relationship with.
Yes.
Point blank period.
Yeah. So good luck with
we
that.
already know where Sasha coming from. Like, no, don't do it.
Unfortunately, that's where we're gonna have to end, and
Okay.
I hope y'all find peace and all of that. Thank you for watching this episode of the In Between series. We really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed you all. I enjoyed your time. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for
And
having
that's
us.
a wrap.